What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of our story career mode here with Sheng. Now, you can see on the screen he's about to purchase himself a new motor. It's going to be his first car as a footballer. In fact, his first car in general. Of course, as you know, he actually hadn't passed his test or been able to drive legally in the UK because of the fact that within the UK, you have to, of course, take your driving test. But luckily, we do offer something here as well in the UK, which basically you can, spend a week where you just drive non-stop for that week, and at the end of it, you're supposed to take your test and pass. That's effectively what G's done. He's gone ahead, he's passed himself a driving test, which means now he can drive himself around, not have to worry about being seen out on the streets, having to get public transport or anything like that. So he's brought himself a new car. We'll see him in it later on in the episode. And also, let me just say this, I did have a few issues with today's episode, which is probably the reason why it's not going to come out at 4 p.m. The initial recording that I had with all the sound and stuff corrupted. I couldn't get it within my editing software correctly without the episode just not basically malfunctioning. So genuinely what I had to do was open it on the recording software, play it back on there whilst I was recording it through another program entirely. So there's no sound sadly on the episode today from the in-game, crowd or anything. But I can't do anything about that. I apologize. Literally, I have no idea what happened. It just wouldn't let me put it into my editing software without me adding the sound, so I had to go ahead, get rid of it, and then re-record over. So at least you're still getting the episode anyway. And as you can see, as we go into game one of the episode today, Burnley have the worst home record in the Premier League currently this campaign. Yet, they are not bottom of the league, so their away record has been pretty decent enough to be able to carry them just outside the relegation zone, rather than being in it. Their away record had been bad as well. They'd have been in such a poor position going into this one. But as well, we do have the Carabao Cup to come later on. The final for you all to enjoy just before the episode comes to a close. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And I do have a question as well, maybe we get closer to that one, just in about how you want me to do future finals for the series. But nonetheless, we get into game one, and Burnley take the lead in game one against Manchester City. Their worst home record in the league, not showing at the moment inside 30 minutes here at Turf Moor, because they took the lead through Chris Wood. His strike beating the Manchester City goalkeeper and making a score 1-0 to the home side. And I tell you what, we are looking at this and thinking, Man City at the moment, if they'd have won this game, they could go back joint top with Chelsea, only behind on goal difference. So if Burnley can win this one, there's every chance they might be able to beat Manchester United later on. But then City grew into the game, going very close there. I think it was actually Fabian Delph with that shot as he leaves the field of play, and they brought on David Silva. Straight after that as well, they made a substitution and brought on Aguero, which was instrumental for Manchester City because with 5 minutes left on the clock, the ball falls to Bernardo Silva. His effort is well blocked twice, but then Aguero reacts quickest in the area to prod home and make it 1-1 here. Potential embarrassment avoided for Manchester City. And I tell you what, at that point, it was heartbreak for Burnley. They'd done everything correct in the game, defended pretty well, right up until the last 3 minutes when another great piece of defending just didn't work out. And Manchester City found a way back into the game. So, yeah, it was so disappointing for Burnley. They were minutes away from picking up another massive 3 points. It's another massive point, though. That adds as well, of course, to the 1-1 draw previously against Manchester United. But still, they were minutes away from registering the 3 points here, and that would have opened the gap up even more to Stoke in the bottom 3. So, it is disappointing, but another good performance nevertheless. And you can see the match facts. Burnley, I would say, were fairly lucky to get a point out of that in general. Not even worrying about the 3 points. They were fairly lucky to get just the point out of that one. So they're going to be just, motoring on at this point, trying to get themselves ahead and trying to basically stay up any way means possible. So this next game against Swansea is massively important. If Burnley are to stay up, they need to put in performances in these types of games against similar opposition in terms of quality. This one, they've got to try and beat Swansea, I feel. Even though it is at Swansea, I don't think a draw would be what they'd be heading here to try and achieve here at the Liberty Stadium. So going into it, G at the moment hasn't had maybe the impact that Burnley were first expecting when they spent £11.5 million, can't get my words out today, on their new Chinese superstar. But, it's still early days. And at the end of the day, Burnley are seeing, I would say, improved results. Not necessarily with G, making the impact in all the games. But the Swansea team's decent. it's one that they're going to have to watch out for here, Burnley. On the other side of that one, Heaton in the goal. They've got a decent back four as well, one that should be able to defend here today. It's going to be about, can Burnley create the chances to try and put the ball in the back of the net and possibly keep a clean sheet. If they can do that, they'll get the points. I feel like if Burnley concede, it might all kind of go to pot, especially if they concede the first goal. So anyways, we'll see. 16 minutes into it. G on this right-hand side. I spoke about him not having the greatest, terms of assist rate so far, but he got one in this game here. Crossing for the unmarked Funes Mori to head in. Unfortunately, it came back off the woodwork, but he reacted quickest out of anybody in the box, very much like Aguero did in the last game, to make it 1-0 to the away side and put it in past Fabianski to give them the lead. And just as we see replays of that goal, guys, just to let you know, tonight I'm going to be going out to watch, to a boxing charity event. So if you want to see what goes on, you can follow me on Snapchat. I'm sure I will be posting some kind of updates. As I said in the previous video yesterday, was it? Yeah, yesterday. You can find my Snapchat in the description below. So if you want to add me of it on there, you'll see any updates that happen tonight. So we'll see. It's probably going to be quite entertaining. Of course, I do like going to these type of things. It's pretty cool to say as well. It's all for a good cause. So at the end of the day, it's always decent. So if you want to keep up to date with that, follow me on Snapchat as G goes through in the 30th minute here, looking for a goal for himself. But his finishing really did lack here. You can see not quite the upper echelons of what we'd see from Ben Wood, but it's decent. He gets into a good position, and that's all you can ask from him. He's just got to do a better finish at the end of the day, and he would have had a goal, but it didn't matter because somebody who seems to be able to score for fun is Funes Mori. He grabbed one, I think, in the last episode, or he might have grabbed two in the last episode, and he's grabbed two here in this game against Swansea inside half an hour's game time, or just over half an hour. But most importantly, both of the assists was from that man, Sheng. He got them both of this opening two goals. It's not the greatest assist in the world, this one. He literally just passes it back to Funes Mori, who just unleashes a strike. And it's not really what I'd consider, an unbelievable assist. It reminds me of Busquets, when he passes it to Messi and Messi takes it around those three players and goes through and scores. Similar type of thing. But nevertheless, that's all Burnley needed. They got the 2-0 win, and that could be a vital 3 points for their Premier League survival. I always say it is, because at the end of the day, when you're low down here, you're fighting for every point that you can gain. And in terms of an actual performance there, nothing happened. After they took the second goal and after G had that chance earlier on, Swansea never really got going, and Burnley just looked to close the game out, and that's what they did as Arsenal win against Spurs there in that North London derby away from home at Wembley. So yeah, interesting there. Obviously, being an Arsenal fan, that's nice, but it doesn't really affect anybody, to be honest. Spurs are higher up in the division, I think, currently. So as it stands, it's a little bit of a disappointment for Arsenal this season. Again, I think they're 6th in this league campaign currently. Chelsea are top, I know that. And then it's pretty close between Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, and I think Spurs are the other side who are pretty close behind. So yeah, it's a very, very close season, this one. And as you can see, something that we haven't seen G do before, defensive training. This one coming before the game against Man United. So Sean Dyche, obviously with a game plan, has said to his players, we need to put it working in training, as always, as you would have to do as a footballer to try and win the game. He obviously wants his players working hard to be able to defend against this Manchester United team that we're going to be facing in just a moment's time. So you can see G getting involved in the defensive training. I mean, he's not the greatest defender in the world. We knew that. He's more of an attacking winger rather than having to sit back and trying to make tackles. But I felt he did okay in this one. Didn't think he made that bad of a time of it. And as you can see here, he then had to park his motor in the hotel car park. The team arrived at their destination for the upcoming Carabao Cup final game. G at this point was unsure whether or not he was going to make the starting 11. No player knew, but he came in his suit ready to obviously meet the press just beforehand, no matter what. With it being a final, Sean Dyche wanted all the lads to have the most smart gear on. So he's suited and booted, ready to go, heading up to his hotel room to get ready. And potentially tomorrow, he could be a cup winner with this Burnley side. So yeah, I am really excited to see how this one's going to go. And then later on that night, he got this message from their manager, Sean Dyche. You're in the side tomorrow, G. I want you to play your normal game. Don't feel like you have to play any differently just because it's a final. So, yeah, you see that kind of happen a few times. You have seen in the past, players playing a different type of game when it comes to finals because they feel like if they do take on that player and lose the ball and that ends up being the thing that costs them the goal, everybody's going to slate them. So there is occasions when it happens, but I think G is going to be his best when he's just playing his normal game. You know, willing to take players on, playing bravely, that kind of thing. And I'm hoping we're going to see the same from G in this final today. But ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the Carabao Cup final at Wembley. Manchester United will take on Burnley for the chance to lift this Carabao Cup. Honestly, I was never expecting G to be here, 6 months ago when he got his, I'd say, youth contract with Zurich. Fast forward to 8 months down the line, he's playing in a Carabao Cup final with a Burnley side who are fighting relegation. The team from Man United looks so good as well. Daley Blind will have the task of marking G today on that left-back spot. Of course, G on the right midfield spot. And that's kind of going to be, I think, where Burnley are going to have to win. If G can get the better of Daley Blind, then maybe he's going to have a good game. However, Man United showed their dominance. Lukaku early on testing the backline of Burnley, only to be denied by the post. And then 46 minutes in, second half began. Burnley very quiet at this point, never really getting through this Man United team. Lukaku uses brute strength to hold off that tackle before unleashing an absolute rocket into the top corner to give Manchester United the lead and put Burnley a goal to nil down, who up until this point had not created a single chance for themselves. So they're going to have to do the unthinkable, come back from a goal to nil down to try and find an equaliser in this Carabao Cup final. You can take nothing away from the strike from Lukaku. It is an unreal effort from the Belgian up top. And then 77 minutes in as Burnley, they look to try and get themselves back in it. Might have committed a few too many men forward. Cross from Lukaku, finds its target at the back post. Alexis Sanchez, the former Arsenal man, slides home to make it 2 to Manchester United. And with 10 minutes to go, it brought Burnley back down to reality. They've had a good few weeks. They got through to this final. Hopes were high. The fans were thinking, surely there is a possibility that Burnley may do the unthinkable. But then we got into the game and it just collapsed, basically. And I don't think that anybody is going to surprised by this. I'm certainly not surprised by the result. I'm sure you guys are sat there now thinking, I am not surprised at all that Manchester United have won this game. But part of me also thinks, what if? Part of me thinks that what if Burnley had found that one lucky chance to take the lead? Would they have been able to defend and get a 1-0 victory? So we didn't unfortunately get to see what G was like. We don't know that. I'm assuming he just kind of left the field to play pretty quickly. Remember, this is his first time that he's played in a final and he's having to deal with this. So I'm sure he's going to be heartbroken, distraught. You could see Defoe was pretty distraught as well. He was laid along the ground with his hands over his face. So a few of the Burnley lads really affected them, but they've got to get back to the Premier League and their second task, which is avoiding relegation this season. As Manchester United would lift the cup, that's sadly going to be Burnley's end of their cup run. Now, guys, as I was saying, let me know what you think we should do for this series moving forward for finals. Should I do them with live comms or should I keep it the way it is as post comms? I decided to do it this way for the first one until I get your guys' input. But what do you prefer? Finals with live comm or finals that are like this where I'm doing it post? Let me know in the comments below because obviously I need your guys' input for that and I do rely on you guys for these series just so I know what you prefer from me to do. So as that ends off what has been the gameplay part of today's episode. Disappointing way to end it, and it did really affect G because after that he decided to go out and head in his motor and do some late night driving just to take his mind off things, really. And it really did affect him, to be honest. I thought he might. Losing a final's never nice, but of course he's got to get it out of the back of his mind now. They have a tough job here, Burnley. They're still not safe out of relegation yet in the Premier League. They still have to work on that one, so we'll see. But he did get a nice message. We are yet to hear from G's mum in this series, but she gave him this message. G, my boy, chin up. There will be other finals to come, of which hopefully we can attend in the future. I'm proud of you, son. Sending love from me and your father. However, we know G's father wasn't very happy with the way he chose that one. So maybe his mum's happy, she's proud of him, but his dad on the other hand, we don't know if that's affected him really. Maybe in the future we'll see them attend one of his games. Who knows how it's all going to pan out. But guys, that is how we end today's episode. If you did enjoy it, a like, rate, greatly appreciated. As I said earlier, apologies for the sound being corrupted in the episode today. I might put music over the gameplay, I might not. I'm going to make a decision when I edit it. But anyways, guys, that is it for me for today. I will see you all again at 4 p.m. tomorrow. As I said earlier, if you haven't already, follow me on Snapchat. You can keep up to tabs as to what goes on later on tonight when I'm at this charity event type thing. And if you are really interested, my Twitter is also in the description. You can follow me over on there. Other than that, as I said earlier, I'll see you all tomorrow at 4 p.m. for another upload, guys. Catch you all then. Adios.